While trying to work out the bow's fall and stall pattern descent to the seafloor, I noticed something interesting. Starting with Cameron's animation, I took screen grabs of a few frames to try and plot out how the bow acted. But while looking at this, I then remembered the James Cameron model tests from the documentaries Titanic 2025 years later, as well as the model tests done in the late 90s. Both of these tests play out similarly, as the back broken end comes down before the bow starts to come down again. Unlike the animation where the bow tends to just find an angle and stays there. After taking screenshots from both model tests and overlaying them to plot out their path of travel, I then had to do some math to figure out how far down the bow would have dropped. Before breaking away, I figured the bow itself would have hung down roughly 500 feet, as the bow wreck section is roughly 470 feet in length. It then would have dropped down to 1,000 to 150 feet before leveling out. I then drew a line through that path and placed it onto this depth map. Then after plotting out the 90s model test with the Cameron tests, I then drew a line through that as well and then started placing it on the depth map. As well, making sure to accurately scale everything. After everything was plotted out, I seemed to have run into a problem, because this doesn't line up with where the bow is today. But if everything is to scale and plotted properly, then this could also mean that the bow and stern might not have broken fully apart at the surface, but possibly might have separated fully further down. Before wanting to make this claim, I decided to plot out where it might have fully separated further down. I then took the debris trail coming from the bow and lined it up with the bow's path. And oddly enough, the debris trail seems to line up with the middle of each down swoop, as well as each down swoop could be part of the zigzag path the bow took. And from my calculations, the bow would have been just about evened out, as it would have come in contact with the seafloor, which also backs up my theory of the slight slide-forward momentum the bow had as it hit the seafloor. So did the bow fully separate at the surface or further down?